Good evening, everyone. We're so excited to have you all here for our flag retirement ceremony with the American Legion. So thank them for being here and doing this for us. Yes, that's awesome. And I see a lot of you have your Tootsie Pops. If you didn't get one, Macy's back there to help you find the right flavor. I hear some people like to look for orange ones or something, but whatever. That's great. Tonight will be just a little different than our regular concert. You know, we always start with the Star Spangled Banner. The Star Spangled Banner will be just a little bit later. We're going to start with Your Grand Old Flag, and then they'll be bringing forward the colors, presenting the colors, and we want people to stand, and when they retire the colors, we'd like you to stand, and there will be the Pledge of Allegiance where you need to stand too. So just so you know, it's kind of like church, stand up, sit down, okay? All right? All right, so without further ado, we're going to begin with Your Grand Old Flag.
Please rise for the presentation of the flags of our country by the East High JROTC.
Colors, halt, left, face, freeze that, colors.
Tonight, we gather here for this Flag Day ceremony to honor the symbol of American freedom, the American flag, as we retire her from duty. As long as Americans cherish liberty more than life itself, the Stars and Stripes shall continue to be the enduring banner of the United States of America. Look at her with renewed allegiance, honor her, respect her, and defend her. Let us rededicate ourselves to the flag of our country by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing and remove your caps for the singing and playing of the national anthem by the Honorable Bill Quibell and the Waterloo Municipal Band. Okay, you may be seated. The United States Code stipulates when a U.S. flag is in such a condition that it is no longer a fitting emblem for display, it should be destroyed in a dignified way, preferably by burning. Tonight, we will gather the flags of our country, which have been determined to be no longer serviceable. They have reached their present state in a proper service of respect, tribute, and in the memory of all who have served America. What we are about to do is our evidence of our utmost respect and undying honor for the flag. Will the flag detail present the flags to be retired for final inspection? The reading of I Am the Flag poem will be by Squadron Liaison Stephan Grimm, and the melody of American the Beautiful by the Waterloo Municipal Band.
I am the flag of the United States of America. My name is Old Glory. I fly atop the world's tallest buildings. I stand watch in America's halls of justice. I fly majestically over institutions of learning. I stand guard with the greatest military power in the world. Look up and see me. I stand for peace, honor, truth, and justice. I stand for freedom. I am confident, not arrogant, but I am proud. When I am flown with my fellow banners, my head is a little higher, my colors a little shorter. I bow to no one. I am recognized all over the world. I am worshipped, I am saluted. I am loved, I am revered. I am respected, and I am feared. I have fought in every battle and every war for more than 200 years. I was flown at Valley Forge, Gettysburg, Shiloh, and Appomattox. I was there at San Juan Hill, the trenches of France, in the Aragon Forest, Anzio, Rome, and the beaches of Normandy, Guam, Okinawa, and Korea, Quezon, Saigon, Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq, Kuwait, and Syria. I was there. I led my troops. I was dirty, battle-worn and tired, but my soldiers cheered me and I was proud. I have been burned, torn, and trampled on the streets of country I have helped set free. It does not hurt, for I am invincible. I have been sailed upon, burned, torn, and trampled on the streets of my country. And it's by the force of my spirit and that I shall overcome, for I am strong. I have slipped the bombs of earth and stood watch over the uncharted frontiers of space, my vantage point on the moon. I have borne silent witness to all of America's finest hours. My finest hours are yet to come. And I am torn to strips, and these are bandages my wounded comrades on the battlefield. When I am flown at half-mast to honor my soldier, or when I lie in the trembling arms of a grieving parent at the grave of their fallen son or daughter, I am proud. My name is Old Glory. Long may I wave. Dear God in heaven, long may I wave. Please forward my message to all who still love and respect me, that I may fly proudly for another 200 years.
At this time, I'll call upon Madam Auxiliary President, Jean Day, for her inspection and recommendation.
Post Commander, since these flags have become unserviceable in a worthy cause, I recommend that they be honorably retired from further service.
Thank you, Madam President. And at this time, I'll call upon American Legion Post 138 Vice Commander Richard Day for his final inspection report.
We have presented these flags of our country which have been inspected and judged as unserviceable. They have reached their present state in a proper service of tribute, memory, and love. A flag may be a flimsy bit of cotton gauze printed or a beautiful banner of the finest silk. Its intrinsic value may be trifling or great, but its real value is beyond price, for it is a precious symbol of all that our comrades have worked for and lived for and died for. A free nation of free men and women, true to the faith of the past, devoted to the ideas of the practice of justice, freedom, and democracy.
Thank you, Commander. And at this time, I'll ask Madam Auxiliary Chaplain Donna Reisick for a prayer.
Almighty God, Captain of all hosts and Commander over all, bless and consecrate this present hour. We thank Thee for our country and its flag and the liberty for which it stands. To clean and purging flame we commit these flags, worn out in worthy service. As they yield their substance to the fire, may Thy holy light spread over and bring to our hearts renewed devotion to God and country. Amen.
Thank you, Madam Chaplain.
Day is gone, gone the sun, from the lake, from the hill, from the sky. All is well, safely rest, God is nigh. Thanks and praise for our days, neath the sun, neath the stars, neath the sky. As we go, this we know, God is nigh. Fades the light, and afar goeth day, and the stars shineth bright. Fare thee well, day is done, night is on. Go to sleep, peaceful sleep, may the soldiers and sailors God keep on the land or the deep, safe in sleep. Love, good night. Must thou go when the day and the night needs thee so? All is well, speedeth on to thy rest.
Okay. That about sums up the flag retirement. Thank you everyone for being with us tonight. It's truly an honor to do this with fellow members of the American Legion, the Junior ROTC, and their Master Sergeant, David Stone, and especially the Waterloo Municipal Band. This June 14th, which is Saturday, fly your flag and take some time to learn something new about it, a poem, a story, or a piece of trivia, and share that with the others, and show respect for your flag. And a special thanks to those who have served this great nation and to those who have paid the supreme sacrifice for our freedom. Please rise for the retiring of the flags of our country by the JROTC. Okay, you may be seated. That concludes tonight's Flag Day ceremony. The municipal band will start the rest of their concert. Thank you, and may God bless America.
Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us. My name is Justin Mertz. I am the Associate Director of Bands at the University of Northern Iowa, and I'm privileged to do a couple of concerts this year as one of the conductors of the Waterloo Municipal Band, your Waterloo Municipal Band. Thank you so much for joining us. And another special thanks and round of applause for American Legion Post 138 for that lovely flag retirement ceremony, especially as Flag Day approaches. We're going to begin our solo portion of the concert, and when I was choosing music for this, I knew it was the flag retirement ceremony day, so I was sort of struck by Americana. And one of the first pieces we're going to do is a piece of music called the Ravenhill Suite, and it's by an Irish-American immigrant who now lives in New York City, and she is a performer and composer in residence for the Salvation Army Band, which is a very high-profile community music organization, just like your municipal band, in the New York metropolitan area. And she composed this piece for an American band in an American style, but of Irish folk music, so the real blending of those heritages. And Irish Americans have a long and storied tradition in this country, and I thought it would be really great to begin with that. So it's in 3 movements, and we hope you enjoy Dorothy Gates' Ravenhill Suite. Next is a piece of music by a young American composer based on a famous American piece of art in one of the most famous American and international art museums. This is a piece called Blue Radiance, and it's by young American composer Nicole Piunno. And she was in Chicago at the Art Institute of Chicago, one of the most famous art museums in the world. And there is an exhibit there by American artist Marc Chagall, and it's all about blue stained glass. And in the very first panel of the blue stained glass is music making, people making music, musical iconography all over the place. And the composer was so stricken by this, and she decided to write a piece of music about it. Well, when it's about the color blue, and it's an American artist, it naturally dawned on her to use an American art form, the blues, and jazz-inflected harmonies. So that's what you're going to hear in this. It's very fun, and it is based on, like I said, a very famous art installation at the Chicago Art Institute. So we hope you enjoy Nicole Piunno's Blue Radiance.
All right. Did you know stained glass could be that exciting, huh? Isn't that cool? You know, there's always inspiration somewhere for music, and that's very cool. Okay, so remember that we need the children down here for the Children's March. So while I'm talking, I'd like the kids to come on down and help me with the Children's March. That would be great. Next week, our concert is on Wednesday because the Center for the Arts is not open on Juneteenth. So remember, our concert will be on Wednesday. We're actually going to practice out here before the concert because we have practiced the day before. Well, that doesn't happen because some of them are in another band and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, we're going to be practicing down here beforehand and then do the concert at 7:30. So we hope that you can join us. Then the following week, June 26th, we're going to do something fun. We're going to do some movie trivia. And you will not be allowed to Google it on your phone. Because there might even be some prizes. Right, Simon? Yeah, good. So be ready for a little movie trivia. Then, of course, we have our patriotic tribute and etc. So mark those on your calendar. We'd like to thank Ed, our videographer, and Ryan, our photographer, and the Center for the Arts for setting everything up, and the City of Waterloo for providing our funding for the concert series. They provide 80%, and we kind of look to donations to help us with the other 20%. Hello there. I'm glad you're here. And so we look for them for you to kind of help us with that other 20%. So we greatly appreciate that. And yeah, so thank you. Now, today we are going to listen to a piece of music by Sousa, who's a very famous march king, okay, and march writer. And he directed the Marine Band. Now, we played another piece by Sousa earlier tonight. Does anybody know what that was? Do you remember when all the trumpets and they stood up and the piccolos stood up? Do you remember what that was? Okay, that was the Stars and Stripes River. This is another song of his called Semper Fidelis, which is the official march of the U.S. Marine Corps, which is pretty cool, okay? And Semper Fidelis is Latin for always faithful. So, speaking of being inspired, Sousa was inspired when he heard the Marines singing the Marines hymn from the halls of Montezuma, that one. When he heard them singing that, he was inspired to write this. And the president at that time wanted something different than Hail to the Chief, so he asked him to write something. That's kind of what this song was supposed to be for, but it never kind of got to that. The Marines kind of kept hold of it. So, we're going to talk a little bit about listening. Now, there's a couple things in here we have to listen for. A solo. Does anybody know what a solo is? What's a solo?
It's a drum part when no one does anything.
Right, there's just one person playing. And there's going to be a solo drum. Corey, are you playing that solo drum? Would you play a little bit of that for us so we know what to listen for? Okay, all right, so when we hear that, we're going to stop and listen because we want to pay attention to Corey because he's doing a great job as a solo and we want to honor that. Then, right after that is a really cool section. There's two other sections before that we're going to march to. When we get to the drum, we're going to stop and we're going to listen to this section because it's like layering music. It's really cool. There's all these parts that keep adding on. The first part you're going to hear, letter D, please, the trumpets and tubas and euphoniums. If you would please play your part at letter D. Then, on top of that, the woodwinds, you know which ones are the woodwinds? They're the ones in front. What do you see in front? What do you see in front? Flutes and clarinets and oboes and stuff. They're going to play this on top of that next. So, flutes and clarinets, if we play at letter E. And then, of course, the trombones have to get in there. They think that they have the last word, and they're going to come in at letter F, and they're going to play this really cool line right there at letter F. you're gonna hear all of those parts during that. So we're gonna listen and we're gonna watch for the trumpets and the tubas and the euphoniums to play, and then the woodwinds are gonna add, and then the trombones. And after they're done with that part, then we're gonna continue our march. You got it? Okay, awesome. So when are we gonna stop? What do we have to listen for?
The drum.
Very good. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Bravo, bravo. All right, great. So let's get lined up. Are we ready to roll? All right, you coming with us, girlfriend? Awesome. Thank you. All right, we're ready. So we're wait for the introduction, and then we're going to start to march, okay? Here we go.
We've got a couple of selections left. What could be more American than the American West? We're going to perform music from a film from 1985 called Silverado. It was a very famous Western. It starred very famous actors, Kevin Costner, Kevin Kline, Danny Glover, and it was a box office smash right in the middle of the 1980s, and it was nominated that year, sadly didn't win, but it was nominated for Best Original Score. It's by American composer Bruce Broughton, who's written a lot of music for films and television, and he's written some classical music, especially he has a very famous tuba concerto. And it really captures the spirit of the American West. When you hear the American West, when you hear Silverado, I'm sure your mind conjures all sorts of imagery, and this music exactly depicts that. It's very challenging and very difficult, and every time I program this, the horns, the trumpets, and the woodwinds get ready to string me up. So they may do that. If they throw me in the river, just carry on, it'll be fine. So we hope you enjoy highlights from the 1985 Western Silverado. You're still alive. Okay, great. We have two more selections. The last one is our traditional America the Beautiful that your municipal band always closes a concert with. But before we do that, another American idea is cultural collaboration and cultural export. So we're going to finish with a piece of music from Spain, actually. Spain and the United States developed in parallel a very robust community band tradition. And in the 1920s, 1930s, Spanish composer Jaime Texidor wrote a traditional piece of Spanish music called a paso doble. It's a lot like a march, similar form, similar orchestration, similar ideas. And this is a very fun one and very flashy. The woodwinds don't like me for this one either, but I've got the magic stick. So it's very reminiscent of American styles, but it's in a traditional Spanish folk style. It depicts bullfighting and things like that. And I thought that would be a really nice highlight on a concert where we're thinking a lot about America. So we hope you enjoy Jaime Texidor's piece, Amparito, Roca.
want to thank you all again for coming tonight. Thank you. Bring friends, relatives, neighbors, whatever, enemies, that's okay too. Remember that the Cedar Falls Band Concert performs on Tuesday night over in Overman Park, so you can go check them out. And we'd love to see you again here next week for, Justin will be back again conducting, so look forward to that. All right, thank you very much.